Welcome, Reef fans, to a Sunday morning edition of Video Journal on my 75-gallon reef tank. Work in progress still. Kind of bummed. Looks like the Eagles aren't going to make the playoffs, the Philadelphia Eagles. There's football fans out there. Fantasy League, I'm out of that too. So I got not a whole lot of rooting to do today, but yeah, I'll be watching. I'm still a fan, but hey, it gives me more time to work on my tank. So Sunday is Sunday Reef Tank Day now, instead of Football Sunday. So alkalinity, we're going to talk about a little bit. Um, why do we need it? How do we measure it? How do we dose it? So here's how I do it. I took a reading last week, and what 10.9 MEQ. Sorry, I was at a 10.9 milli equivalent units. Okay, you'll also see that shown as a smaller number, DKH. DKH, it's German. Degrees of carbonate hardness. Um, you take one number, multiply by 2.8, I think is the math. You take this number, divide it by 2.8, you'll get to the DKHs. But anyhow, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. What matters is we get to where we want to be. So where do we want to be? Well, here's what I do. I'm at a 10.9, or I was at a 10.9. I'm at a 8.4. I just took the reading. I'm at 8.4 now. So that means I lost 2.5 milliequivalent units of overall alkalinity during the course of the week. I want to be around a 9.1, maybe 9.5 range, but I want to be there. So I need to add, during the course of 7 days, 2.5 milliequivalent units. Plus, to get to where I want to be, I need to take where I am, where I want to be. That's another 0.7. So if I take the 0.7 and the 2.5, during the course of the week, I need to add enough supplement to add 3.2 milliequivalent units of calcium, carbonate alkalinity. So I'm going to use Reef Builder Plus, made by Seachem. This is what I use. I like the product. I like Seachem product. It's a powder. It's just like a two-part system. You know, if you see the two-part systems, the A and B systems, this is generally the part two, the alkalinity part. It's already measured out for you. This math I've done is basically done once you level out your calcium and alkalinity for the first time. There's an equation of how much calcium is used compared to how much alkalinity is used. So therefore, you can do a two-part system. You add a capful one, a capful the other, you're done. I like to calculate it myself. Even after we're done this step and we're into the regular daily dosing, two-part, I still use the powder, and I do the calculation myself. I check it not as often. I'll check it more often at the beginning than I do at the end. One important thing: follow the directions. You know, a lot of people ask me, "Hey, I'm trying to raise my alkalinity. I'm adding the supplementation. It's not raising." Follow the directions. There's always a qualifier that says, "Do not exceed X amount per day." Don't exceed it. You exceed too much of this even, and certain chemical reactions are going to happen behind the seeds where it's not going to allow the alkalinity to raise. It might even decrease your alkalinity. You can't do it too fast, especially with corals in the tank. Oh my God, if you've got corals in the tank, everything is done in this hobby slowly. We do everything slowly. We work on the hobby slowly, but bad things can happen fast. That's kind of like the golden rule of thumb. We always make changes slowly, but when bad things happen, they can happen very fast. So we're going to do that today. Real quick, what's alkalinity? not to bore anyone with the details because most of us don't care, but we should know what it is. It's not really a thing. It's not really a thing like magnesium or calcium is. It's not a compound that you'll see in the periodic table if you remember back in your chemistry days. Alkalinity measures the total of all the carbonate in your system. So the bicarbonate and the carbonates that are in your system, in the aggregate, the calcium test kits will measure that. So when we say we have a certain number, a 9.1 or a 10.9, whatever the number is, that number means, the higher the number means it's how much acid the water can absorb before it changes the pH. pH is important to keep stable because it affects the health of the corals. We can't have a pH that's fluctuating up and down. So because of that, a fluctuating pH has the potential to kill or harm the corals. Because we don't want a fluctuating pH, we want a stable, relatively high alkalinity. Rule of thumb is 7 to 12 milliequivalent units. So I'm going to look at the 9 to 10 range, I guess, when I do mine. So that's what calcium is. The corals use it. Sorry, that's what alkalinity is. The corals use it with calcium to form calcium carbonate, to form the skeleton of the coral. So it's important for the tank. So we're gonna get to it. I'm gonna add my dose for the day. I'm gonna take this over 7 days. I'll check the reading again next week. I should be close. I have a little tweaking to do. Once I kind of dial it in, it'll be set and dialed in. Then you make subtle changes, obviously, as you're adding corals and lighting and different things to the tank. It's going to change how much you use during the course of a week. So check it once in a while. Once you figure it out, you're not done for good. Any changes to the tank you make, start testing again. I know people, they don't test for months at a time. They can tell by just looking at their tank that something's off, and they'll do a check and then dial it back in again. So anyhow, there we go. Thanks for watching, and have a good football Sunday.